We begin. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Amazing. And as we continue to get here and get into our seats, we'll continue to welcome each other. And we'll sing words of Hine ma tov u'manayim, how good and pleasant it is for all of us to be together. You can find those words on page 10. Join with us. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. So we have all these wonderful voices here this Shabbat, and so we're going to continue to sing this, but we're going to do it as a round because we have all of these voices. So you can hear Taryn singing the melody right now. We're going to jump in with that, and you can either follow Jacob and I, or Taryn, or you can just let the music be part of how you're welcoming Shabbat. You ready, team? Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom. Oh my goodness, it is so good to see all of you who are here in the sanctuary. I hope all of you who are at home can feel the spirit that's in this room. And I want to begin by sharing a quotation by Maya Angelou, who said, "In a world so rife with vulgarity, with brutality and violence, love exists. I'm grateful to know that love exists." Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet anu gam yachad. Oh my goodness, of course love exists because we come together on Shabbat. It is so wonderful to see all of you who are here in the sanctuary, here at Temple Beth Am. It is so wonderful to feel the presence of all of you who are at home watching. I'm Rabbi Ruth Zlotnick. Our services tonight will be led by a team of folks, including Rabbi Jason Levine, Rabbi Dana Benson, Jacob Glickman, Taryn Weber, Alex Chazzi. I finally know your last name, Alex. And Jamie Schur, who is the wind beneath our technological wings over there. And I want to say, no matter what the week has been, no matter what, Shabbat always arrives as a time of sweetness and a time of slowing down and taking a breath, a time of reflection. And what an incredible gift that we have inherited, this gift of Shabbat in community. Now I'm going to openly acknowledge that we as a community are still grappling with how do you be one community in the time of COVID. Maybe this is a great time to mention if you're in the sanctuary and have something that might beep or bing, you might want to just turn it on silent. But I have to say, we're still, the reason why our theme as a congregation this year is creating home together is we're still figuring it out. And we know that there are those of you who are at home who would have loved to join us today, because this is our first Shabbat congregational dinner since the COVID pandemic. And we feel you, and we see you, and we know you. So I'm going to invite us to stand up and turn to the camera and wish Shabbat Shalom to everyone at home, if you don't mind doing that. Shabbat Shalom. And we want to let you know that those of you at home, the rabbis are here. We're here to help you still feel a part of the community, even if this isn't your comfort zone. But for the rest of us who are here in the sanctuary tonight, for the next several months, on the fourth Friday of the month, we will be having these festive Shabbat services and congregational dinners. And as we shared at Rosh Hashanah, the only way we can make this our communal experience is for all of us together. So we are going to create our Shabbat home together, learning and relearning what it means to be in community. And each one of these Shabbat evenings will be hosted by a committee. And we really thought that the very first Shabbat communal experience should be hosted by the Hearth Committee. You may not know what the Hearth is now. I hope you'll have a better idea by the end of this evening. But the Hearth is our committee that really looks at building intentional person-to-person connections. A hearth is that center, warm place where you eat, you schmooze, you argue, you connect. That's what the Hearth is. So if you are in the Hearth Committee, or if you have ever led or participated in a Hearth group, I'm going to invite you to stand up now, just so we can take note of you. So wonderful to see all of you here. And you're going to hear more about both dinner and the Hearth later on. But for now, for those of you at home, do what you need to do to really make this a special sacred place. But for you who are here, we're gathered around the hearth. We get to know one another. Please wish Shabbat Shalom to those around you. And if you don't know them, share your name. Get to know each other.
I'm surprised. We did sing at the my first weekend here at the big event. It was Simchat Torah, and then also I think the night before, were you here during the Fall Fest? Oh, it was Simchat Torah. It was Simchat Torah.
I love it. That's amazing. This is the energy of Shabbats, of our community being together. Those who've been here many times and those who are joining us for the first time. A community, a sacred space, truly is only sacred by the people and the relationships within it. That is the principle of a synagogue. That is the core of the hearth. And it's an honor. It's really an honor to welcome up to light our Shabbat candles this evening. For those of you joining us from home, please light your own candles. Let's connect with each other across the community. It's an honor to invite up Sam Rosen, one of the co-chairs of our Hearth Committee, along with Allison Obson-Clements, Louis Rofflauer, a longtime member of our Hearth Committee team. And I have to, in front of this community, in front of this people, say a huge thank you and shout out to Shelley Cohen, the longtime co-chair of our Hearth Committee, with who the Hearth cannot exist without. So,
We hope you're watching. Thank you.
was said without Shelley, we hope you're watching. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you for everything. But now let's bring in the light of Shabbat. Louis, Sam, if you would. We light the Shabbat candles. And if you would like to join along in the blessing, page number 2. And for those of you at home, light with us. Bring the light of Shabbat all together. So we're going to do the blessing and then that.
Do we sing it or just say it?
We take our light, and that light that we're all sharing together this Shabbat in. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Sam, if you would.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Again, thank you to Sam, to Louie for your leadership, for your inspiration, for bringing our Shabbat tonight. My favorite thing about that blessing was hearing all of you at home. I could hear all of you. Thank you.
And with that, we turn to more senses of light and more of an experience of light. We turn to page 14, 1-4, for Or Zarua Lat Sadik Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. And I'm going to read you a translation of it that I particularly like.
It's that third stanza in the Hebrew. It's that third stanza in the
bottom
Hebrew.
paragraph. And so this is one of the translations I think is quite beautiful. Plant the seeds of joy and light. Tend them carefully day and night. In this soil so dark and deep, I plant the dreams that love reaps. And so as we sing Or Zarua, we think about that light and that joy, and maybe we'll even dance and have a little bit of fun as we sing together. Page 14, Or Zarua. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Yai, yai, yai. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, yai, yai. Yai, 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 yai. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Or Zarua, Lat Sadik, Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Ul Yishrei Lev Simcha. Yai, yai, yai. Yai, 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 yai. Yai, 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 I mean, I know I'm working up a sweat, but I hope you're getting a little bit of that energy and aerobic energy there. And so we now are moving into our prayer Chadodi, and it's my honor to invite up someone that maybe many of you recognize, but some of you may not yet. One of the newest members of our team, our director of experiential lifelong learning, Jacob Glickman, who also you'll be getting to see on the Bima quite a bit because he'll be helping us with leading services, with music, and with so much more. We're just really grateful for the energy, the spirit, the ruach, truly the spirit that Jacob brings and helps to lift up in our community. Good.
There's a button to be pressed, and now it's on. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
I didn't teach you that trick.
We're still learning. Such an honor to be here, and what an amazing turnout tonight. I haven't been here for high holidays, but I haven't seen this sanctuary filled this full and with this much energy since I've begun here, and so it's truly an honor to be here with you all tonight. I am excited to introduce Lecha Dodi. This is one of my favorite Kabbalat Shabbat songs that we sing. I want to bring you back a couple hundred years ago to the ancient city of Sfat, right? Sfat in Israel, the ancient mystical city associated with the element of air. And the way the Kabbalists used to bring in Shabbat is they would get dressed in their robes and they'd go out into the fields and out in nature and they'd start to dance, probably around a giant fire. And they would sing Lecha Dodi and they would become ecstatic with joy and with celebration. It's a little bit different than how we celebrate Shabbat today, right? But what I love about this is that they understood that in singing Lecha Dodi, they were welcoming in the Shekhinah, the divine feminine presence of God, and they're welcoming her in as if she was a bride, because they understood that to really take advantage of the opportunity that Shabbat had, they had to be a wedding, right? That we had to marry the divine presence, that we had to open our hearts as one does to someone who we're about to marry and welcome them into our lives and really deeply root inside of us. And so I invite you to do that as we sing Lecha Dodi together.
Page 20. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pei Shabbat mekabela. Shamor v'zachor le'ribor echad hishlianu el ha'miyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet ve'litzilah. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat mekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aser b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat mekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki va'orech, kumi ori, 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 shir daveri, kavod Adonai, alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat mekabela. Verse 9, if it is your custom and you are able, please rise to face the entrance and welcome Shabbat. Boi v'shalom, atzeret ba'ala, gam besimcha, uvetzola, toch emune, ham segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat mekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Director of Experiential Jewish Life, my apologies, everyone. Me? Yeah, wonderful. And so we move now from Lecha Rodi, now that we're warmed up, now that we've taken that moment to welcome the bride and really feel like we are here, we are connected, we take a moment to acknowledge that we're here as community. The words of Baruch Hu are words that we only say when we have a gathering of Jews, a gathering of individuals to take these prayers and do them together. And so as we say the Baruch Hu, we not only acknowledge that we are here and praying together, we acknowledge the need and the importance of the love and support that we give to each other as community. Please rise in body or spirit for the Baruch Hu, which can be found on page 28.
If you're standing, you're welcome to be seated. Page 31, reading from Ma'ariv Arvim, the one who brings on the evening. I welcome you to join in the English with me. We're going to do the second reading on the page. You can read it as is, or I changed 2 words. You're welcome to join me. In the 5th line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it says, shall we draw back? I choose to say, my sibling, my friend. My sibling, my friend. But you read as you choose. Join with me. Our voices can join together. Again, page 31, second reading on the page. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of lights. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my sibling, my friends, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of lights. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my sibling, my friends, or cross over? Join me in the Hebrew if you choose. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravi.
Amen. Beautiful. And so in a moment, we turn our focus, our intention to the Shema. And I'd like to just share with you for a moment a kavanah, a way to think about how we're going to enter into this experience of the Shema, which when we get there will be on page 34. But Here we are, our first evening when we are gathered for a congregational dinner after Shabbat services, even as we feel our friends who are here virtually. And I remind you that when we gather as a community, we gather because our mission is to deepen relationships to Judaism and to each other through the soul, the heart, and the mind. We'll get to Judaism in a second. That's a little thornier, but let's talk about each other for a moment. Here at Temple Beth Am, the way we understand the work we do as a synagogue home, a home that we're creating together, is that we think about ourselves as a place where our souls can fly, a Beit Tefillah, a house of prayer. And we think about ourselves as a place where our minds can expand and deepen our understanding of our tradition, and we are a Beit Midrash, a house of learning. But maybe more important than ever, at least in my lifetime, is that we are here to connect to each other. We are a Beit Kehillah, a home for community. The Beit Tefillah is connected to our souls. The Beit Midrash, the house of learning, is connected to our minds. The Beit Kehillah, that's connected to our hearts. And in many ways, our Hearth Committee, our initiative that is really designed to create different opportunities for us to find each other in Jewish community, there's a reason why Hearth, which is the centerpiece of a home, a place of warmth, a place where people can argue sometimes, tell their stories, laugh, connect, eat. The hearth is the center of our community, just like the heart is the center of our being. And in fact, in Judaism, the lev, the heart, is the seat of our consciousness, what makes us most especially human. So at Temple Beth Am, our mission is to deepen our connections to Judaism and each other. And I'm going to tell you a little secret right now. The Judaism there is another word for God. Judaism is the path that we take to feel the connection to something bigger than ourselves, to feel a sense of meaning. So I am going to invite you, as we move into the Shema, to stay seated and maybe to put both feet on the ground. And perhaps you want to close your eyes as people have done throughout the centuries for the Shema. And when we're with our littlest ones, we tell them for the Shema, maybe you want to put your hand on your heart. Maybe you don't. Whatever works for you. And what works for you may not work for your neighbor. But I'm going to invite you for a few moments to think about your heart as you breathe in and out. Just breathe at your own rate and think about your heart beating within you and how that heart is connecting with all the hearts around you right now, whether in this space or beyond. As you breathe in and out at your own pace, and as we feel a sense of oneness with the heart of the universe. Out of the silence will come the Shema.
Adonai Eloheinu, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai It's my honor and pleasure now to invite up a young individual who's going to become bar mitzvah tomorrow. Gabe Ambrose, come on up as you'll be helping us by leading us in the Ve'ahavta, which can be found on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושינתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך ובדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם
Adonai Elohechem Emet Yasher Koach gave beautiful leading. You may go take a seat.
We continue together with Micha Mocha, found on page 40. While Micha Mocha is indeed a prayer of freedom as our ancestors went forth into salvation, it's a prayer that they recited together. Perhaps in some ways, Micha Mocha was the moment when our people, a disparate group of tribes, a group of slave nation, people have been oppressed for so long, individuals and families. Micha Mocha was the first time their voices finally joined together. So lift up your voice, those of you in the sanctuary, those of you at home, move your bodies, have some energy. Let's lift up our voices as one communal people tonight with Micha Mocha.
now, full of energy and spirit, we turn to the Amidah, this time where we have both prayers that we share together as well as time for our own reflection and meditation. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for the Amidah, which can be found on page 46. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agitehilatecha. Adonai, open up our lips that our mouths may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol v'Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor leolam Adonai, mechaye hakol atarav leoshia. Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, mechalkel chayim vechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim verofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, nishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umidomelach, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman ata le'achayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol, atah kadosh, V'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh.
We take the next few moments for our own personal and silent prayer. If you choose to use the words in the book, they're through page 62. Once you've taken the time that you need for yourself, please be seated.
refi, והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון עם רפי, והגיון ליבי לפניך.
Page 253, a prayer for healing. Even as we begin this prayer for healing, we must acknowledge what a brutal and challenging week it has been. And so many of our fellow human beings struggle for so much around the world that is burdensome. From East Jerusalem to Memphis to California to Ukraine, there are wounded hearts all around the world. And our country, especially tonight, is wrestling once again as another black man is killed at the hands of police. So this Shabbat, notably, we think of the pain and the suffering of Tyree Nichols' family and his community. We also add the names of our loved ones, those who struggle and suffer with healing, with illness, with discrimination, with hate. We invite you, if you choose, at home and in the sanctuary, to add the names of loved ones so we might hold them in our hearts and pray together that we might find the strength and courage to continue to fight each day. Again, page 253.
refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
May each and every one know a full and speedy healing of body and of soul. Amen. And so we're going to take just a few moments right now just to have a little taste before we have a taste of our Shabbat potluck for the first time in over 3 years. We're going to have a little bissel, a little taste of Torah. And I am hoping we'll just take a moment to create Torah together in the same way that we're creating a Jewish home together. Because this Torah portion is too good to pass over and not talk about. Mark knows. So yes, this is the Torah portion, Parshat Bo, which means come. We have the final plagues, and this is it. This is the part that we're going to all hear about a lot in a couple of months at Passover. This is when we prepare to leave Egypt. Finally, after 400 years of slavery, we're going to paint the lintels, we're going to make the matzah, we're going to get the lamb ready. Even those of us who are vegans, we're going to do all of that. We're going to paint our doorposts, and this is and why? Because what did Pharaoh say? What did Moses say to Pharaoh? Let my people go. Does anybody know, for bonus mitzvah points, what the other part of that sentence was? Let my people go so that they may serve God. Everyone forgets that part, Kind of interesting, But the idea is, let my people go. Let us experience freedom so that we may go to Mount Sinai and recognize that freedom means that we have obligations. We have obligations to ourselves. We have obligations to other people. And ultimately, we have obligations to the mystery of which we're all a part, that some of us call God. And so, we're told that when the Israelites were preparing to let go of 400 years of slavery, to let it go, that they would paint on their doorposts. And it actually says, what we don't really know is that you're supposed to paint it both on the outside and on the inside. Now, on the outside makes sense for anyone, even if you've only been to one Passover Seder in your life, Why do we paint the doorposts of the house? Why do we do it? So God can pass over. God knows Israelites live there. They prepared correctly. They're ready to be freed. To Rashi, a great commentator on Torah from France, and to Rabbi Yishmael, a great commentator on Torah from the rabbinic period, they thought, didn't God kind of know who was doing what? Right? Like, it's a little strange. And I'm just going to fix my mic because this is what's going to come up in a Purim spiel one day. Because in Torah it says they also painted it on the inside. And this is the key piece. Rashi and Rabbi Yishmael suggests that the Torah says, paint it on the doorposts of your house for you, not for God. Paint it on the doorposts of your house as a reminder to you why you're going through these preparations for freedom. And for freedom that doesn't mean you can do whatever you want, but for freedom that helps you be a partner with God in the world. Paint it as a doorpost on your house as a symbol of the enduring values and faith that you are a part of. And today, all these years later, here we sit in this sanctuary or wherever you may be in your homes, and we still embrace this story that in some ways we create a symbol on our homes to remind us of the enduring values that we live so that we may use our freedom for good, so that we may use our freedom to make the world a better place. I want to name just 2 ways that we still do that today. And I promised my companions that we'd be quick about this so we can get to dinner. I'd like you to help me come up with other examples. Still today, where do we put a mezuzah? On the doorposts of our house, as a sign for us that we are part of a community that is bigger than just the people who reside in the home within. But those people who reside in the home within share the values of a freedom that obligates us to take care of ourselves and others and the world we live in. Mezuzah is one way. Another way we're going to talk about in a little while, we're going to see in the social hall when we come together in our congregational dinner. We're going to have a little bissel, because we have a little taste of a lot of things, of challah, a little piece of challah, a little taste of grape juice on your table. If you see, and also once we've lit the candles together, if you see candles, if you see challah, if you see grape juice, that is a sign to you that Shabbat is here. And that we're creating this space that's just a little taste of the sweetness that we will all experience one day, God willing, when we make this world a place of peace. So the mezuzah on the door of your house, perhaps the ritual items you have on your Shabbat table. These are 2 ways that we remind ourselves, and I'm going to do this right. I'm not supposed to have 2 mics on at the same time, and I think I did the technology correctly. So a mezuzah, some of us keep in our homes as a way of reminding ourselves we are part of a community larger than ourselves that believes that our freedom means we make the world a better place. Some of us here make sure on our tables on Friday evening, there's grape juice, there's challah, there's candles, as a way of saying we need to take one day to appreciate the blessings in our lives. I'd like to ask you, what are some other ways that you remind yourself why you're part of a community that identifies Jewishly? What is it that you do that is a symbol of your own understanding of your Jewish life? Any volunteers? Oh, 1 second. And so if you could take the mic and say your name.
My name's Deborah. Go to the mikvah.
Wonderful. So a mikvah is a ritual bath that we use for a variety of different reasons, and what a wonderful way to remind yourself of your connection to God and to the Jewish people. Please share your name.
I'm Stephanie, and I'm thinking of a tzedakah box. To take care, it should take care of others.
So Stephanie has a home, in her home, a tzedakah box that allows us to help support the material needs of others. Will you share your name? I know it, but not everyone else does.
Brigida, singing Shema every night.
Sing. Okay, Brigida just won the internet, I think. Singing Shema every night. And Brigida, can I ask you, and you'll be our final, what does that do for you when you sing the Shema every night? Do you mind sharing that? Like, how does it make you feel to sing the Shema? And who do you sing Shema with?
My mom and my dad, and it makes me feel happy.
And the rest, as they say, is commentary. And so I just want to let you know, in a little while we'll share with you what we'll be doing at the dinner tables afterwards. But on this Shabbat, as we share this notion that all of us together help create a world that is free, may the symbols that you use to remind you of your own freedom inspire you to take better care of yourself, to take better care of others, and to take better care of the world around us.
Clock a vote. We take that message to transition towards the conclusion of our service with those around us and those who came before us, who we honor and remember and cherish them. Prayer of memory, page 294. Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. On this Shabbat, there's many loved ones that we remember and keep in our hearts. We acknowledge International Holocaust Remembrance Day, the 6 million Jews and 12 million human souls taken away in acts of hatred and violence. Remember Tyree Nichols. We remember those lost in the shooting in Monterey Park, California. Su Qian Yu, Hong Yan Jian, Lilin Li, Mai Mai Nyan, Moi De-young, Diana, Man Ling Tom, Wen Tu Yu, Valentino Marcus Alvaro, Wing Mei Ma, Yu Lun Cao, Chai Ling Yu. Remember those in the shooting at Half Moon Bay, California. Zishen Lu, Jihong Chang, Marciano Martinez Jimenez, Yetao Bing, Actiang Zong, Xingqiu Lu. We in our community are in a period of Shiva, the 7 days of mourning for Sanford Rose, brother of Sharon, father of Elisa, Michael, and Megan, father-in-law of Gloria and David, grandfather of Jesse, Samantha, Ari, Olivia, Evan, and Alec. We are in the period of Shaloshim, the 30 days of mourning for Wiley Schimmel, father of Scott, father-in-law of Judith, grandfather of Simon, Hal Elner, husband of Helene, father of Todd, Lynn, and Wendy, father-in-law of Teal, Mitch, and Jonathan, grandfather of Rachel, Jacob, and Noah. Chris Mueller, stepmother of Rebecca and step-grandmother of Alana. Al Zions, father of Jeff, Martin, Ellen, and Ron, father-in-law of Sally, Sue, and Michelle, grandfather of Aaron, Jacob, Violet, Alex, and Zach. Jerry Fisher, husband of Rita, father of Susan and Lauren, father-in-law of David and Glenn, grandfather of Nate, Sophie, and Annie. Lois Stoller, aunt of Dawn. We also observe the yard sites, the anniversary of passing of these loved ones. Peter Aaron Appel, Lillian Leah Aaron, Ronald Barnett, Stanley Block, Miriam Brieger, Vincenzina Chicali, Carl Davis, Joseph Pfeffer, Dorothy Fox, Rose Golub, Shelley Gordon, Leo Greenstein, Marvin Gross, Jorge Kaminsky, Daniel Kellman, Milton Klein, Gunther Lawrence, Lori Lipster, David Lichter, Stephen Lipson, Dorothy Luster, Hulda Magnus, Alvin Mandel, Nancy Otterman, Jefta Pidagorsky-Drockman, Florence Rosenberg, Ruth Rubin, Dean Harris Sanders, Lou Sandler, Anne Hannah Schiller, Harry Siegel, Dick Sen, Rosalind Shack, Albert Shikiar, Sherry Selesky, Rosalind Singer, Terry Stomba, Norma E. Weiss. If any names have been mispronounced or omitted from our list, we invite you to share them at this time. If you're in the first 7 days of mourning, you're welcome to rise. If you're in the first 30 days of mourning, you're welcome to rise. If you're in the first year of mourning, you're welcome to rise. If you're observing a yard site on this Shabbat, you're welcome to rise. If it's your tradition to rise in love and solidarity, we welcome you to do so. Again, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach hirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivarach le'olam elomei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitalei, v'yitalal, shemei dekudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'imroma, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, b'imru, amen. Yoshvei tevel, words we add to represent all who dwell on the earth. If you're standing, please be seated.
And I'll just take that, if that's okay. And so if you've been coming to Friday night services or tuning in, you know that we have a couple of minhagim, a couple of customs that we've been doing at the end. And one of them is to share simchas, share joys. And we're going to encourage you, if you're looking for something to talk about with someone near you, share with them at dinner or online. We're hoping we're going to have 2 different or 3 different places where you can get food. So hopefully the lines will be short. I know what you're thinking about right now. But while you're online or meeting someone new, share a joy that you've experienced. That's something we do during services, and so it'll be wonderful to share that with you. And we always say that you can't share a joy without really coming from a place of gratitude. And so it's always at this time that we as a community acknowledge our gratitude that this Shabbat gathering is happening on coastal Salish land, specifically of the Duwamish tribe. And in addition to our gratitude, we as a community are committing ourselves to learning more and continuing to actively support our indigenous neighbors and their tribes. For example, we'll be incorporating more learning as we move forward in the year, and Temple Beth Am also continues to financially support on a regular basis the United Indians of All Tribes Foundation. And so we also feel a sense of gratitude to the Hearth Committee. And so you may have heard at the beginning of services, we're so grateful to Sam Rosen. Sam's over there. Wave your hand, Sam. Sam is our co-chair with Allison Opson-Clement, who is not here this evening. She's attending to a loved one. But Sam, you may have, that name may sound familiar because Sam, Sam is kind of like the wind blowing in and out of different ways. And Sam was a congregant for many years and then became part of our professional team. Now is a congregant again as our co-chair of the Hearth Committee. And we are very, very lucky that we have a member of our professional team who is helping us in lots of the same ways and some different ways as Sam did. And her name, and really, Sam, I think you're a rock star. Amber, though, may be the sweetest person I've ever met, except for maybe Rena Levine. And so, Amber Herschelt, are you in this room? You promised me you would be. Would you stand up so people could, and do you mind just for a moment? Just so people, that's what she looks like. And you may hear from Amber, and Amber helps. And so we just want to say thank you, Amber, for being our partner in all of this. And so we thank all of our members of our Hearth Committee who are here. If you're a member of the Hearth Committee, raise your hand so people can just, if you have questions about it, these are the folks you'll ask. Next month, you want to come. You want to come to our congregational dinner because next month's going to be hosted by a little committee known as the Board of Directors. And so we figured we'd let the Hearth Committee, who has been involved for 3 years in these person-to-person connections, to help us go forth. And really, 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 from Jacob to Rabbi Dana to Rabbi Jason to myself, I hope that you responded to the High Holy Day surveys, and we want to know what's working for you, what's not working for you. We've never been in a situation to be living through a global pandemic before, and so these dinners, we hope we create together in a way that really helps you to experience a little taste of Shabbat. And as such, I wanted to let you know that every single table in there will have challah on it, and we'll have grape juice and little cups on it. as a symbol that this is Shabbat. And what we're hoping you'll do, really, I hope that if you're a longtime member, you're seeing a familiar face that you're so grateful to see. I hope if you're a first time, if this is your first time at Temple Beth Am, you feel a sense of warmth and friendship around you, and you're excited to meet new people. I hope that what we can do is recognize that the pandemic has raised in us an awareness of how much we need each other. So I encourage you, when you're online, when you're sitting down at tables, sit down maybe with people who just look interesting. We have table tents with, and trust me, at Temple Beth Am, everyone looks interesting. And so we have table tents with conversation starters. We just said, if all else fails, what was something joyous that happened to you this year? And also, I just want to let you know, the rabbis and Jacob will be floating around to help you as a table to make Kiddush together. We're going to do it as a community now. But what a wonderful way to just share with people who maybe you didn't even come with, a little blessing over bread and a little blessing over grape juice. And if you have any questions about it, we are here to help. And with all of that, the final thing I am here to say is that the other thing about the fourth Friday of the month is that this Friday we call it Healing Challahs, but the truth is that's not accurate. They could also be celebratory challahs. The basic idea is that member to member, person to person, we let people know that we are seeing them in times of great need. Perhaps they've had a loss or an illness in their families, or times of great joy. Perhaps there's been a wedding, or a new person has arrived in their family. The healing challahs are on the table over there, and there's also ways to sign up for them online. I think that's it for all of the announcements. So we're going to do our closing blessings. We're going to do our closing song. And I have to say, there is nothing that has been more beautiful for me to hear than to hear all of you singing together. And let's keep that beauty going as we move into the social hall.
Amen. And we have another joyful thing. We have not just one bar mitzvah, we have a bat mitzvah as well tomorrow. So Margalit Miller Friday, if you would come forward and help lead us in the Kiddush. And Gabe, why don't you also? I've got 2 cups of grape juice here. So I don't know if Margalit wants both of them.
And Margalit chose your outfit to match the rabbi's talis? No.
There you go. Page 5.
Sorry. Okay.
And there we go.
Sorry.
COVID.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher tzidkanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzah banu, b'shabbat kodsho, be'ahavat ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yam techila lemikrayeh kodesh, zecher tziat mimitzrayim, ki banu b'charosh
Amen, v'lechaim. And if both of you would take a sip of that, make it a kosher blessing.
And when we're together in the social hall, just that first line, Borei Peri Hagafen, will work. And now we'll do the Kiddush, the Hamotzi.
I asked them if they wanted to finish it. The answer was a resounding yes.
Grab this, grab the tray, and together you can.
And so, for those of you who may have been here in the before times, we used to put our arms around each other. If that's something you're comfortable with, we've also been encouraging continuing the COVID elbow to elbow, if you'd like, as we do the Hamotzi together.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, v'tei avon. Yeah, and go for it. Amazing. And with that, we have our closing song. We leave with the words of peace, which can be found on page 343, Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Join with us. Shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh 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 shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, amen. Shabbat shalom.